Welcome to our YouTube channel. If you are new here, please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. As for our returning viewers, welcome back. Tupac Amaru Shakur, born Laisane Parish Crooks, June 16, 1971, died September 13, 1996, also known by his stage names Tupac and Machiavelli, was an American rapper and actor. He is widely considered one of the most influential and successful rappers of all time. Shakur is among the best-selling music artists, having sold more than 75 million records worldwide. Much of Shakur's music has been noted for addressing contemporary social issues that plagued inner cities, and he is considered a symbol of activism against inequality. Shakur was born in New York City to parents who were both political activists and Black Panther Party members. Raised by his mother, Afeni Shakur, he relocated to Baltimore in 1984 and to the San Francisco Bay Area in 1988. With the release of his debut album Tupacalypse Now in 1991, he became a central figure in West Coast hip-hop for his conscious rap lyrics. Shakur achieved further critical and commercial success with his follow-up albums Strictly for My Niggas, released in 1993, and Me Against the World, released in 1995. His diamond-certified album All Eyes on Me, released in 1996, the first double-length album in hip-hop history, abandoned his introspective lyrics for volatile gangsta rap. In addition to his music career, Shakur also found considerable success as an actor, with his starring roles in Juice, released in 1992, Poetic Justice, released in 1993, Above the Rim, released in 1994, Bullet, released in 1996, Gridlock, released in 1997, and Gang Related, released in 1997. During the later part of his career, Shakur was shot 5 times in the lobby of a New York recording studio and experienced legal troubles, including incarceration. In 1995, Shakur served 8 months in prison on sexual abuse charges, but was released pending an appeal of his conviction. Following his release, he signed to Marion Suge Knight's label Death Row Records and became heavily involved in the growing East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry. On September 7, 1996, Shakur was shot 4 times by an unidentified assailant in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. He died 6 days later. Following his murder, Shakur's friend-turned-rival, the Notorious B.I.G., was at first considered a suspect due to their public feud. He was also murdered in another drive-by shooting 6 months later in March 1997 while visiting Los Angeles. Shakur's double-length posthumous album Greatest Hits, released in 1998, is one of his 2 releases, and one of only 9 hip-hop albums, to have been certified diamond in the United States. 5 more albums have been released since Shakur's death, including his critically acclaimed posthumous album The Don Illuminati, The 7 Day Theory, released in 1996 under his stage name Machiavelli, all of which have been certified platinum in the United States. In 2002, Shakur was inducted into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. In 2017, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Rolling Stone ranked Shakur among the 100 greatest artists of all time. In his 1995 interview with Vibe magazine, Shakur listed Jada Pinkett, Jasmine Guy, Treach, and Mickey Rourke among the people who were looking out for him while he was in prison. Shakur also mentioned that Madonna was a supportive friend. Madonna later revealed that they had dated in 1994. Shakur met Jada Pinkett while attending the Baltimore School for the Arts. She appeared in his music videos Keep Your Head Up and Temptations. She also came up with a concept for his California Love music video and had intended to direct it, but she removed herself from the project. In 1995, Pinkett contributed $100,000 towards Shakur's bail as he awaited an appeal on his sexual abuse conviction. Speaking about Pinkett, Shakur stated, "Jada is my heart. She will be my friend for my whole life," and Pinkett said he was one of my best friends. "He was like a brother. It was beyond friendship for us. The type of relationship we had, you only get that once in a lifetime." After Shakur was shot in 1994, he recuperated at Jasmine Guy's home. They had met during his guest appearance on the sitcom A Different World in 1993. Guy appeared in his music video Temptations and later wrote his mother's 2004 biography, Afeni Shakur, Evolution of a Revolutionary. Shakur befriended Treach when they were both roadies on Public Enemy's tour in 1990. He made a cameo in Naughty by Nature's music video Uptown Anthem in 1992. Treach collaborated with Shakur on his song Five Deadly Venoms and appeared in his music video Temptations. Treach was also a speaker at a public memorial service for Shakur in 1996. Shakur and Mickey Rourke formed a bond while filming the movie Bullet in 1994. Rourke recalled that Shakur was there for me during some very hard times. Shakur had friendships with other celebrities, including Mike Tyson, Chuck D, Jim Carrey, and Alanis Morissette. In April 1996, Shakur said that he, Morissette, Snoop Dogg, and Suge Knight were planning to open a restaurant together. On April 29, 1995, Shakur married his then-girlfriend Keisha Morris, a pre-law student. Their marriage was annulled 10 months later. In a 1993 interview published in The Source, Shakur criticized record producer Quincy Jones for his interracial marriage to actress Peggy Lipton. Their daughter Rashida Jones responded with an irate open letter. Shakur later apologized to her sister Kidada Jones, who he began dating in 1996. Shakur and Jones attended Men's Fashion Week in Milan and walked the runway together for a Versace fashion show. Jones was at their hotel in Las Vegas when Shakur was shot. In November 1993, Shakur and two other men were charged in New York with sodomizing a woman in Shakur's hotel room. The woman, Iona Jackson, alleged that after she performed oral sex on Shakur at the public dance floor of a Manhattan nightclub, she went to his hotel room a later day, when Shakur, record executive Jack Hagnant, Shakur's road manager Charles Fuller and an unidentified fourth man apprehended forced her to perform non-consensual oral sex on each of them. Shakur was also charged with illegal possession of a firearm as two guns were found in the hotel room. Interviewed on the Arsenio Hall show, Shakur said he was hurt that a woman would accuse me of taking something from her, as he had been raised in a female household and surrounded by women his whole life. On December 1, 1994, Shakur was acquitted of 3 counts of sodomy and the associated gun charges, but convicted of 2 counts of first-degree sexual abuse for forcibly touching the woman's buttocks in his hotel room. Jurors have said the lack of evidence stymied a sodomy conviction. In February 1995, he was sentenced to 18 months to 4.5 years in prison by a judge who decried an act of brutal violence against a helpless woman. Shakur's lawyer characterized the sentence as out of line with the groping conviction and the setting of bail at $3 million as inhumane. Shakur's accuser later filed a civil suit against Shakur seeking $10 million for punitive damages, which was subsequently settled. After Shakur had been convicted of sexual abuse, Jacques Hagnant's case was separated and closed via misdemeanor plea without incarceration. J. Benza reported in New York Daily News Shakur's new disdain for Hagnant, who Shakur theorized had set him up with the case. Shakur reportedly believed his accuser was connected to and had sexual relations with Hagnant and James Rosemond behind his 1994 Quad Studios shooting. Shakur began serving his prison sentence on sexual abuse charges at Rikers Island on February 14, 1995, before being transferred to Clinton Correctional Facility in March. While imprisoned, he began reading again, which he had been unable to do as his career progressed due to his marijuana and alcohol habits. Works such as The Prince by Italian philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli and The Art of War by Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu sparked Shakur's interest in philosophy of war and military strategy. On April 29, 1995, Shakur married his girlfriend Keisha Morris. The marriage was later annulled. While in prison, Shakur exchanged letters with celebrities such as Jim Carrey and Tony Danza, among others. He was also visited by Al Sharpton, who helped Shakur get released from solitary confinement. By October 1995, pending judicial appeal, Shakur was incarcerated in New York. On October 12, he bonded out of the maximum security Dannemora Clinton Correctional Facility in the process of appealing his conviction. Once Suge Knight, CEO of Death Row Records, arranged for posting of his $1.4 million bond. On October 31, 1993, Shakur was arrested in Atlanta for shooting two off-duty police officers, brothers Mark Whitwell and Scott Whitwell. The Atlanta police claimed the shooting occurred after the brothers were almost struck by a car carrying Shakur while they were crossing the street with their wives. As they argued with the driver, Shakur's car pulled up and he shot the Whitwells in the buttocks and the abdomen. However, there are conflicting accounts that the Whitwells were harassing a black motorist and uttered racial slurs. According to some witnesses, Shakur and his entourage had fired in self-defense as Mark Whitwell shot at them first. Shakur was charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault. Mark Whitwell was charged with firing at Shakur's car and later with making false statements to investigators. Scott Whitwell admitted to possessing a gun he had taken from a Henry County police evidence room. Prosecutors ultimately dropped all charges against both parties. Mark Whitwell resigned from the force 7 months after the shooting. Both brothers filed civil suits against Shakur. Mark Whitwell's suit was settled out of court, while Scott Whitwell's $2 million lawsuit resulted in a default judgment entered against the rapper's estate in 1998. On November 30, 1994, while in New York recording verses for a mixtape of Ron G., Shakur was repeatedly distracted by his beeper. Music manager James "Jimmy" Henchman Rosemond reportedly offered Shakur $7,000 to stop by Quad Studios, in Times Square, that night to record a verse for his client Little Sean. Shakur was unsure, but agreed to the session as he needed the cash to offset legal costs. He arrived with Stretch and 1 or 2 others. In the lobby, 3 men robbed and beat him at gunpoint. Shakur resisted and was shot. Shakur speculated that the shooting had been a setup. Against doctors' advice, Shakur checked out of Metropolitan Hospital Center a few hours after surgery and secretly went to the house of the actress Jasmine Guy to recuperate. The next day, Shakur arrived at a Manhattan courthouse bandaged in a wheelchair to receive the jury's verdict for his sexual abuse case. Shakur posted a $25,000 bond and spent the next few weeks being cared for by his mother and a private doctor at Guy's home. The Fruit of Islam and former members of the Black Panther Party stood guard to protect him. In a 1995 interview with Vibe, Shakur accused Sean Combs, Jimmy Henchman, and the Notorious B.I.G., who were at Quad Studios at the time, among others, of setting up or being privy to the November 1994 robbery and shooting. Vibe alerted the names of the accused. The accusations were significant to the East-West Coast rivalry in hip-hop. In 1995, months after the robbery, Combs and B.I.G. released the track Who Shot Ya?, which Shakur took as a mockery of his shooting and thought they could be responsible, so he released a diss song, Hit 'Em Up, in which he targeted B.I.G., Combs, their record label, Junior Mafia, and at the end of Hit 'Em Up, he mentions rivals Mobb Deep and Chino XL. In March 2008, Chuck Phillips, in the Los Angeles Times, reported on the 1994 ambush and shooting. The newspaper later retracted the article since it relied partially on FBI documents later discovered forged, supplied by a man convicted of fraud. In June 2011, convicted murderer Dexter Isaac, incarcerated in Brooklyn, issued a confession that he had been one of the gunmen who had robbed and shot Shakur at Henchman's order. Phillips then named Isaac as one of his own, retracted article's unnamed sources. In October 1991, 1 month before the release of Tupacalypse Now, 2 Oakland Police Department officers stopped Shakur for jaywalking. The officers allegedly asked for his name since it did not sound American. He answered them and they brutalized him, scratching his face over the street. Shakur filed a $10 million lawsuit against the Oakland Police Department. The case was settled for about $43,000. On April 5, 1993, charged with felonious assault, Shakur allegedly threw a microphone and swung a baseball bat at rapper Chauncey Wen, of the group MAD, at a concert at Michigan State University. Shakur claimed the bat was a part of his show and there was no criminal intent. Nonetheless, on September 14, 1994, Shakur pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor, and was sentenced to 30 days in jail, 20 of them suspended, and ordered to 35 hours of community service. Slated to star as Sharif in the 1993 Hughes Brothers film Menace to Society, Shakur was replaced by actor Vontae Sweet after allegedly assaulting one of the film's directors, Alan Hughes. In early 1994, Shakur served 15 days in jail after being found guilty of the assault. The prosecution's evidence included a MTV Raps interview where Shakur boasts that he had beat up the director of Menace II Society. In 1994, Shakur was arrested in Los Angeles, when he was stopped by police on suspicion of speeding. Police found a semi-automatic pistol in the car, a felony offense because of prior conviction in 1993 in Los Angeles for carrying a concealed firearm. On April 4, 1996, Shakur was sentenced to 120 days in jail for violating his release terms and failing to appear for a road cleanup job, but was allowed to remain free awaiting appeal. On June 7, his sentence was deferred via appeals pending in other cases. On August 22, 1992, in Marin City, Shakur performed outdoors at a festival. For about an hour after the performance, he signed autographs and posed for photos. A conflict broke out and Shakur allegedly drew a legally carried Colt Mustang but dropped it on the ground. Shakur claimed that someone with him then picked it up when it accidentally discharged. About 100 yards, 90 meters, away in a schoolyard, Quaid Walker Deal, a boy aged 6 on his bicycle, was fatally shot in the forehead. Police matched the bullet to a .38 caliber pistol registered to Shakur. His stepbrother Maurice Harding was arrested in suspicion of having fired the gun, but no charges were filed. Lack of witnesses stymied prosecution. In 1995, Quaid's mother filed a wrongful death suit against Shakur, which was settled for about $300,000 to $500,000. Civil rights activist and fierce rap critic C. Dolores Tucker sued Shakur's estate in federal court, claiming that lyrics in How Do You Want It and Wonder Why They Call You Bitch inflicted emotional distress, were slanderous, and invaded her privacy. The case was later dismissed. On the night of September 7, 1996, Shakur was in Las Vegas, Nevada, to celebrate his business partner Tracy Danielle Robinson's birthday and attended the Bruce Seldon vs. Mike Tyson boxing match with Suge Knight at the MGM Grand. Afterward in the lobby, someone in their group spotted Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, an alleged Southside Compton Crip, whom the individual accused of having recently tried to snatch his neck chain with a Death Row Records medallion in a shopping mall. The hotel's surveillance footage shows the ensuing assault on Anderson. Shakur soon stopped by his hotel room and then headed with Suge Knight to his Death Row nightclub, Club 662, in a black BMW 750 sedan, part of a larger convoy. At about 11 p.m. on Las Vegas Boulevard, bicycle-mounted police stopped the car for its loud music and lack of license plates. The plates were found in the trunk and the car was released without a ticket. At about 11:15 p.m. at a stoplight, a white, four-door, late-model Cadillac sedan pulled up to the passenger side and an occupant rapidly fired into the car. Shakur was struck 4 times, once in the arm, once in the thigh, and twice in the chest with one bullet entering his right lung. Shards hit Suge Knight's head. Frank Alexander, Shakur's bodyguard, was not in the car at the time. He would say he had been tasked to drive the car of Shakur's girlfriend, Kadada Jones. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do so and also like the video and leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching.